And welcome back. As we continue to honor Pride Month, all across the country, debate is raging over laws prohibiting early classroom instruction on sexuality and gender identity. While some argue this legislation protects parents' rights when it comes to their children's education, others say this marginalizes LGBTQ plus youth, highlighting the importance of supportive environments. ABC's Rena Roy has more.
Enough is enough!
Outrage across the country. With more than a dozen states passing or considering bills that restrict discussion of sexuality and gender identity in schools. In April, Alabama implemented that ban. Governor Kay Ivey also requiring students to use bathrooms and locker rooms based on their sex at birth rather than the gender they identify with.
And if the good Lord makes you a boy when you're born, you're a boy.
Critics say these kinds of laws and so-called Don't Say Gay bills are devastating for the LGBTQ plus community, many of whom already feel marginalized, like trans teenager Marco Cole of Alabama.
I was either bullied or just seen as the weird kid.
That's why he says safe spaces like the Magic City Acceptance Center in Birmingham are crucial.
I felt like I was at peace the first time I walked through these doors.
A nationwide survey of LGBTQ plus youth shows a staggering 45% had seriously considered attempting suicide in 2020, more than half of them identifying as transgender and non-binary. The study also showed that students with access to safe spaces in school had a lower suicide attempt rate versus students who did not have that same access.
We know that it matters because it is life-saving.
Alexander Cisco didn't have that kind of support and was forced to seek help away from home. At 18 years old, he bought a one-way bus ticket from California to New York City.
I arrived here at 4 a.m. and had no resources whatsoever. And I ended up going to Bellevue. And Bellevue referred me to the Ali Forney Center.
The Ali Forney Center is the nation's largest LGBTQ plus community center, providing housing, food, healthcare, education, and employment opportunities.
It gave me a lot of hope.
President Alex Roque paints a grim picture for those kids who fall through the cracks.
It's ugly, and young people are forced out into the streets, sometimes violently kicked out of their homes.
Nearly 40% of the homeless youth population in the U.S. identify as LGBTQ+. Some advocates say they fear for the health and safety of young people with the increased passage of these Don't Say Gay laws. For those who may be struggling, Alexander has this message.
I know sometimes you get really tired of people saying it gets better, especially when it doesn't feel like it, but it will. And you just have to repeat that to yourself all the time. You will be happy one day.
Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.